Good evening. This is a special report from the Human Error News Network. Tonight, we're investigating the moment the whole world was watching until suddenly it wasn't. What really happens when a system that's supposed to be perfect just goes dark?
You know that feeling, right? It's the final seconds of a nail biter. The biggest play of the season is about to happen, and then nothing. Just a black screen. That exact feeling of disbelief, that gut punch, it was felt by millions all at once. And that's exactly where our story begins.
So you have to ask yourself, how does this even happen? I mean, we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar operation with millions of people watching live. You'd think there would be safeguards, backups for the backups. And you know what? You're right. So the real question is, what went so wrong that all of those systems failed? To get to the bottom of it, we first have to understand the machine.
Yeah, because to really get why it failed, you first have to appreciate the absolute miracle of when it works. We totally take it for granted, but what looks like a simple stream on your phone is actually this incredible technological ballet, with thousands of parts all moving in perfect sync. This is what we expect to see, right? The game happens on the field, and in what feels like the blink of an eye, it's right there in your living room. It seems so effortless, almost like magic. But let me tell you, behind that magic is a massive, and I mean massive, hidden operation. And this right here gives you an idea of the sheer scale we're talking about. It's not just one truck, it's practically a city on wheels. For any big sports event, you've got this entire fleet, and each truck has one hyper-specific job. One is just for instant replays, another is just for mixing the roar of the crowd. It's an absolute symphony of specialized tech and expert teams. The word for all this is infrastructure. But here's the thing you gotta remember. Infrastructure isn't just about the hardware and the software. It's about the people. It's the highly trained engineers and producers who are the living, breathing heart of this whole thing. Without them, all this fancy tech is just a bunch of expensive boxes.
Okay, so a super critical step right at the beginning is called encoding. Think of it like this. The raw video from the cameras is huge, way too big to send over the internet quickly. Encoding basically shrinks it down, packages it up into a digital file that's light enough to just fly across the web and land on your device in seconds. This is the very first link in a long chain, and if this one link breaks, well, the whole thing falls apart.
And on this particular night, a link in that chain didn't just bend, it snapped clean in two. So let's go back. Let's pinpoint the exact moment that millions of fans were suddenly plunged into total darkness. Here it is, the anatomy of a disaster. It's an NBA play-in game. Everything is on the line, overtime, and with just 48.1 seconds left to play, poof, the screen just cuts to black. Fans are stuck staring at that dreaded technical difficulties message. And when the feed finally comes back, the entire story of the game has completely flipped.
Now, the whole outage lasted for almost 2 minutes, but the amount of actual game time that everyone missed was 22 seconds. But in basketball, 22 seconds is an eternity. And in those 22 seconds, the game-winning shot was made, the single most important moment, and nobody saw it happen.
So what on earth went wrong? Well, the first reports that came out all pointed the finger at the machines. But as our investigation dug deeper, we uncovered a story that was, let's just say, a lot more human. This was the official statement that went out from Amazon Prime Video. And it's a pretty clean explanation, right? A piece of tech broke, a box failed. It sounds like a random, unavoidable accident. Case closed, nothing to see here. Or is there? Yeah, not so fast. Because a few days later, the production company behind the broadcast, Game Creek Video, they came forward and took full responsibility. And their explanation changed everything. It wasn't a random hardware failure at all. It was a human error. A single engineer, under immense pressure, made the wrong call. And this is the part that you really need to understand. The massive, global, complex streaming network, it worked just fine. The entire system broke down at the very source, inside one truck, because of one decision made by one person. So this is where our investigation really shifts. If we know that people are going to make mistakes, because we're human, it's inevitable, then how do we build systems that can actually handle that? The answer is pretty fascinating. You have to design for failure. The first and most important principle is redundancy. It's actually a pretty simple idea.
For everything that's critical, you have a spare. If one power supply dies, another one instantly kicks in. If a server crashes, its twin takes over immediately. It's literally the system's backup generator, making sure that one broken part doesn't cause a total blackout. Next up, you have something called a content delivery network, or a CDN. Just think of the internet like a giant highway system. Now, during a huge game, that highway can get completely gridlocked. A CDN basically builds a bunch of extra express lanes with servers placed all over the world so the stream can find the fastest, clearest path to you, avoiding all those digital traffic jams and, of course, that dreaded buffering wheel. And when things do go wrong, which they will, the pros don't panic. They troubleshoot. It's a calm, logical, step-by-step process. Identify the problem, isolate what's causing it, implement the fix, and then verify that it worked. For instance, if they detect a bottleneck, they can reroute the entire stream to a different part of the CDN in seconds. It's all about having a plan before the crisis hits. But here's the real secret. The most powerful safety net in this whole operation isn't a piece of hardware or a fancy algorithm. It's the human network. It's the constant chatter on the headsets, the daily system checks, the clear rules for what to do when the pressure is on. Because the tech is just a tool, the real backup system is a team that trusts each other and works as one.
And that brings us right back to the central mystery. In a system with all these incredible safeguards built right in, how did one single human error manage to slip through all those cracks? It's so tempting to ask, right? Who's to blame? Is it the engineer who made the mistake? Or is it the system that allowed that one mistake to be so catastrophic? But maybe that's the wrong question to be asking in the first place.
Because look, errors are always going to happen. People, no matter how skilled or experienced they are going to make mistakes, especially when the pressure is as high as it is during a live broadcast. That is just an unavoidable fact of being human.
We see the real failure isn't the human error itself. The real failure is designing a system where a single human error can bring the whole thing crashing down. The goal shouldn't be to create perfect people. The goal has to be to create systems that are so tough, so resilient, they can absorb our inevitable mistakes and just keep on running.
So the ultimate challenge isn't about how we get rid of human error, it's about how we design a world that actually expects it. A world that's built for us, flaws and all. And that leaves me with one final question for you. How many other systems in your life are just one mistake away from going completely dark? This has been a special report from the Human Error News Network.